The Village of Rhinebeck Planning Board meeting for December 15, 2020 to order. The first item on the agenda is the continuation of the public hearing for site plan approval of 6384 Mill Street LLC. Warren Temple Smith, Victoria Polidoro, and Christian Paggi, engineer. Everybody happy? So the public hearing is still open. It is still continued until we close it. And I guess the first thing I wanted to ask, is there anybody out there in the public who has any additional comments for us? You can raise your hand or send a chat to Ryan and he can turn on your microphone. Okay.
You might want to give the applicants a chance to update the, so that the public's aware of the latest version.
So we have looked at everything. We got material from Rob Sasser, from Craig Wallace. We have a tentative resolution and all of the issues and discussions that we were having about the Frontier Agreement, which we got today, except the top date is wrong. It says November, but it's signed December at the bottom.
Oh, it was signed, I think, in November by one party.
Oh, okay. And we have the, that's the agreement. Then we have the easement for the parking spots across the street. We've agreed to reduce the parking spots based on not being a restaurant. The resolution has comments about the drainage issue being addressed and so on. I guess the main question that we had now is you sent some new architectural drawings to us with some buildings and around that look like the hub. And I wanted to give the board a chance to comment on the architectural drawings if someone has them. Ryan, do you have them, or you have them, Warren?
I have them.
Yeah, Ryan, just let Warren share. We can take a look at the colors and the styles that have been suggested as the final rendering of the hotel.
Can you see this? Are you able to see this?
The patio is...
David, can you hear me?
Yes, the patio has been reduced.
Okay.
Everyone noticed.
Well, that will show on Ryan's plan.
Right.
The patio shown on Ryan's plan. The changes made here were additional details and notes on the colors. John Clark had some specific questions about colors of items in the building, including the grills for the package terminal air conditioning units, and basically all the painted colors in the building. So those notes have been added to the elevation. And another comment or request was for a note to indicate that not only would lot line windows be blocked on the south facade if there's ever a building built immediately adjacent to it, but the overhangs of the cornice would also be removed. So we added that note to the drawings, but those are really the only, there are no design changes, if you will, to the drawings.
And can you just tell me what the colors
the
are on the side?
Yeah, I will. The renderings were, you saw last time with the taller frieze on the front, and seen on the side. So going back to the, of course, the brick was indicated before as a vintage red blend. The clapboard siding is a Benjamin Moore Shelburne buff, which is a light beige, white Lancaster whitewash, historical color. The windows themselves will be a white, including the permanent muntins. The storefront will be painted white as well to match any aluminum storefront. The doors are dark blue, called a Hail Navy, another historical color. The grills themselves, we can't match the brick completely, but we're calling for a Benjamin Moore color called Georgian brick, which is a pretty good match for an orange-red brick. And then the roof, we're looking at a GAF Timberline high definition shingle at Williamsburg slate, which is kind of a blue-gray. That's what we're proposing here.
And by permanent buttons, you mean on the exterior of the glass, right?
They're adhered to the interior and exterior of the glass, right?
All right, good. Well, that's fine with me.
Good.
I think the other changes are primarily are items that Christian added, amended to the site plan, and I would suggest that we let him.
Yeah, I can do a quick run through of the site changes. I can share my screen if that will help. Hold on. Okay. I'll run through all of the changes, but the most significant change was the revision to the back patio area. After all of the discussion on concerns with turning radius and just the size of the patio, we decided just to reduce that size of the patio from 24 feet down to 10 feet. That's shown on the plan here. That will be completely out of the turning the vehicle path for the fire apparatus. And that's shown on the second sheet there, with these circulation details. So to alleviate any of those concerns, the applicant was happy to just reduce the size, make sure that everything was outside of that vehicle path. We've also added additional details and just barriers for protection of any pedestrians going into the rear of the building via this patio. There's 2 light bollards proposed here. They're easier to be shown on the planting plan here. It's a little bit larger scale. So those are 30-inch tall concrete bollards with, right now we're just showing a typical detail, but they'll be decorative with a LED light on top just to light the path, and also just for additional protection and notice to cars that would be parking in this adjacent parking area. The light would be shielded. There's a typical detail right here. It would have a shade on it, so it would really be downward facing light. We've relocated some of the planters, one on either side of the curb cut. This is a 6-foot curb cut in the rear. And so there's 2 planters shown just to really delineate the access point, and again, to provide an additional barrier for traffic that would be circulating through the site. And then just one more in the corner. We've added the bump out in the rear that wasn't shown previously. So this coincides with the architectural drawings. And we've added just a location for a bench in the patio area. In addition to that, we have shown the parking stalls the way that they actually are currently on the adjacent lot on the Frontier property. There's 4 angled parking spaces. Those spots currently extend somewhat onto the property, the subject property. I'll show you on the existing conditions plan. And we've called that out. So with the improvements, we will be restriping these spots so that the entire spot is located on this property, subject to approval from Frontier, of course. We weren't able to run that by them. We don't expect any issues. They've been very responsive and good to work with, but that would be subject to them allowing us to do that. And we've also shown parking bumpers in those existing spots. And that was based on a recommendation from the village engineer. to provide some protection of the building for those parked spaces. So that was a good comment. And again, we're proposing that contingent on approval from Frontier. The other parking bumpers that we've shown on this easterly side of the parking lot, we've corrected to make sure to show them in the correct location, not up against the property line or up against these light pole bases, to provide ample clearance. So that was corrected. And we've also indicated on the detail sheet and lighting plan a light fixture that would be used to replace any non-compliant pole-mounted lights on the property. This is a fully shielded, full cutoff light fixture. It's actually the same fixture that the board reviewed and approved for the Hobson's site, the amalgamated project from 2018. So we are showing that also. Let's see. I believe that was really it. We added some notes to the plan regarding the overhang, just in the event that the license for the overhang with Frontier, if that's ever revoked, the applicant is acknowledging that they would need to return to the planning board for any amendments that would be required in the event that that license was revoked. Then also the bus pad, we just added a note that location that we're proposing is really just diagrammatic and for informational purposes, and that we know that we need to work out the details with the DOT and the village engineer regarding the location and the type of ramp that will be, if it will be a ramp or a flush pad. So that was just noted on the plan also. The remaining information that's still required relative to utilities remains the same as it was at the last meeting. We are acknowledging that we need to provide that to the village and are requesting that we be permitted to provide that as a condition of approval. We don't believe that the site will require any amendments to accommodate any of the utilities, but we acknowledge that if during detailed design, if there's any changes that would be required to the site, we would need to come back to the board for approval of those changes. But again, we're not anticipating any changes for the reasons that we put forth in our letter to the board for the last meeting, and I know that we've gone through this quite a bit, so I won't belabor the point. I believe that's really it.
Does the board have any questions about the latest revision?
Yeah, one question. In the previous version, you had 6 off-site parking places designated across the street on the property, and you reduced it to 4. Was there a reason why you did that rather and paid 2 more extra spaces?
Thank you. So I missed that. We took out the references to the restaurant. Before we were showing 39 spaces that were required, and that was because of the restaurant calculation. So removing the restaurant calculation, the actual number of spaces is 37. So we just removed 2 spaces from the M&T Bank. We were going to be paying for 2 spaces before, so that just remained the same.
All right.
How much parking in lieu of fee is needed now? For how many spots?
2 spaces. That didn't change. It was 2 spaces before, and we're
4.
it's
It's 4 and 4. 4
Oh, I'm
off-site
sorry. I apologize. 4.
in lieu of.
Thank you.
We have 4 parking in lieu of. Okay, so it is 4.
I apologize.
Okay.
And that has to do with how you guys calculate parking spaces, because if there were a project to come back that needs more spaces in the future, the way your code is written is that you can only pay for half the spaces in lieu of.
Right.
So this provides the ability to provide 2 more offsite if needed. If we provided them now, there would be no opportunity to pay for spaces in the future. We're just trying to keep the balance there.
Mhm.
All right. Does any member of the board have any additional questions? Also, if any member of the public, before I close the public hearing, does any member of the public have any additional comments about this final revision of the plans? Anybody's out there? Okay. Ryan, you can stop the share. I don't think we need that anymore. There's everybody. Okay. I'd like a motion to close the public hearing.
I, Michael Gee, will make the motion to close the public hearing.
Do we have a second?
And I, Mary Quinn, will second it.
All right, a roll call vote. Michael Gee,
Aye.
David Miller, aye. Mary Quinn,
Aye.
Jeff Christensen,
Aye.
John Clark.
Aye.
Okay, the public hearing is closed. Does anyone have any more comments about this project?
Mr.
No, just thank you for your diligence and cooperation and sticking with it the way you did, and accommodating all of our questions and requests.
Mr. Chairman, I'd also like to make a comment, but mostly to address that to the people that have made public comments, because this is unlike most of the things that we review on the planning board. Most of the things are very small items that maybe affect only 1 or 2 neighbors, expanded garage or a porch, etc. But unlike most of those applications, this one has an impact on the entire village. So it's not surprising that we've received a lot of public comments. And just out of respect to all the people that made the comments, I want to respond to those comments. And I speak only for myself as one member of the planning board. I've read every letter we received, and I've heard every public comment made in the planning board meetings. Some people made negative and inappropriate personal comments about the developer, and some people commented that they know the developer personally and they think he's a great guy. But neither of these type of comments have any relevance to this application. An application is not a referendum about the applicant. There have been comments that the review was too technical in nature. Well, it's important to understand, people out there, that the board must leave any personal feelings at the door and has to evaluate each application against codified criteria, such as the village code, the historic district overlay, the state environmental quality review, in this case also the state Department of Transportation, etc. So the legal and engineering people hired by the applicant have fashioned a proposal that is within these bounds. And it introduces no issues that might be interpreted different ways or would require the consideration of any variances. So just a few observations about the public comments. There's no real community opposition to the development of this piece of property. There's no substantive community opposition to the style and outer appearance of the proposed building. In fact, I think more people than not offered supportive comments on the way the building looks. There was strong community opposition to the proposed use of the building interior as a hotel. And anyone that doesn't grasp that hasn't been listening. Nonetheless, hotel lodging is specifically identified in the current village code as an allowable use for this property. And this developer's chosen to proceed with that use. The only other strong comments the public made were related to parking. And we just talked about that a bit. The developer has satisfied the requirements by reserving additional parking across the street and by paying for required spaces. And this is an option in the village code. And by the way, just to correct a misperception regarding parking that was made by one of the commenters. Someone commented that a hotel would be preferable building use on this property to an apartment building because a hotel would require fewer parking spaces than apartments. And in fact, if the interior use of this same building was to provide, say, 4 or 5 small studio apartments instead of 9 hotel rooms, the code would require significantly fewer parking spaces. So just to play back what I've heard out of respect for the commenters, there is a growing concern within the community that the balance of development between the interests of tourism and the interests of residents is tipping away from what some people view as the livability of the village for its residents in favor of tourism. But it's not within the authority of the planning board to judge an application on these sentiments. So to this portion of people that have commented, I recommend the most effective way for you to influence the direction of the village is to bring your concerns to the mayor and the town board, maybe to consider updating the 27-year-old master plan and identify current consensus of the community. And then more importantly, to update the village codes that the planning board must respect to reflect what that consensus reveals. So I just wanted to make those comments out of respect for how strongly some people feel and how important this will be to the village. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anyone have any other comments? All right, I have, Craig said I should read this into the record, so you'll bear with me. I can sort of like make it a,
Why don't you have them share the screen so that
I
you
did,
could put the resolution up and people could read it?
I know, I have to open it again. Bear with me 1 second. Okay, now I get back into the meeting and share the screen, and it's there. There it is. Okay, I can make it a little bit bigger. Okay, the Village of Rhinebeck Planning Board, resolution granting site plan approval for 6376 Mill Street mixed-use lodging and retail facilities, December 15th, 2020. Whereas the applicant 6384 Mill Street LLC has submitted an application for site plan approval for the establishment of mixed-use lodging facility and retail space with related improvements, the project, on property located at 6376 Mill Street, Rhinebeck, New York 12572, identified as tax parcel number 6170-18-458198 within the Village Center zoning district, the property, and whereas retail uses, lodging facilities are permitted, uses in the Village Center, subject to site plan approval, and whereas the project depicted on site plan entitled The Hub Mixed Use Building prepared by Lawrence J. Paggi, PEPC, dated October 24th, 2019, last revised December 9, 2020, and the architectural elevations entitled Mixed Use Building prepared by Warren Temple Smith, LLC, dated June 1, 2020, last revised November 19, 2020, the site plan set, and whereas June 16, 2020, the planning board classified the project as unlisted action and declared its intent to serve as lead agency in a coordinated review of the project to which no other agency has objected. Whereas pursuant to section 239M of the General Municipal Law, the project was referred to the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development, which responded on July 1, 2020, that it was a matter of local concern, and whereas the village fire departments commented on the project, and whereas by email dated October 15th, the New York State Department of Transportation indicated that they found no issues with the project, whereas duly noticed public hearing was held on the site plan set on October 6, 2020, closed December 15, 2020, in accordance with the New York State Governor Cuomo's executive order 202.1 and the subsequent extensions thereof, during which those who wish to speak were heard. Whereas the planning board has reviewed the environmental assessment form, EAF, and the information provided by the applicant has sufficient information before it on which to base a determination of significance. And whereas the planning board has considered the criteria contained in 6 NYCRR.617.7 and thoroughly analyzed and identified relevant areas of environmental concern. Now, Therefore, be it resolved that the planning board duly adopts a negative declaration to determine the project will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts, and that the draft environmental impact statement will not be prepared. Be it further resolved that the planning board hereby approves the site plan for the project and authorize the chair or his authorized designee to sign the site plan set after compliance with the following conditions. Okay, let's go through these and we'll see if everybody's happy with these conditions. Payment of all fees and escrow. Payment to the Village of Rhinebeck Parking Trust Fund for 4 parking spaces. Approval by the planning board attorney of a parking easement in recordable form for 4 off-street parking spaces at 6369 Mill Street as depicted on the site plan set for the life of the project, and recording said easement with the office of the county clerk. Approval by the planning board attorney of a license agreement with the owner of 6372 Mill Street to permit the overhanging eave on the south side of the property. If the license agreement is revoked, the applicant must notify the Village of Rhinebeck Planning Board within 10 days, and the applicant must return to the planning board for amended site plan approval. In the event the license agreement is revoked, the overhanging eave must be removed in accordance with the agreement. Approval by the village engineer of the site plan and details related to parking layout and traffic circulation. Approval of the village engineer of grading and drainage plan for the property, including parking, ADA accessible route, patio building, and finished floor elevation. Approval by the village engineer of water utility plan for the property, including connection and construction details. Approval by the village engineer of sanitary sewer utility plan for the property, including connection and construction details. Satisfaction of all outstanding issues set forth in the village engineer's letters detailed September 15, 2020 and November 17, 2020. Be it further resolved that the ADA ramp for the bus stop shall not be constructed until DOT work permit has been received, the review of which will include the design of the ADA ramp. Be it further resolved that the building permit may be issued for construction of a mixed-use building on the site plan. The applicant shall provide the village with evidence that the approved parking easement has been recorded in the office of Dutchess County Clerk. Now, is everyone watching happy with that? The planning board, the applicant, and his representatives?
We have no comments on those conditions. They're satisfactory to the applicant.
Yeah, I think we left the drainage issue and those things up to the village engineer to review as the plans move forward, the construction documents. Okay, do I have a motion to approve the Hub Hotel at 6384 Mill Street LLC? Someone want to make the motion?
I'll make the motion. Michael Gee.
We have a second. John Clark, turn on your microphone.
All right. I will second it, but just a correction, it's at 6376 Mill Street.
6376 Mill Street, the Hub. Yes. Oh, 64, right.
That's the applicant's address.
Sorry, a lot of numbers on that. Yes, thank you. A roll call vote. We have no conditions, right? There's no, all the conditions are in that resolution. We're not missing anything. Okay, roll call vote. Michael Gee,
Aye.
Mary Quinn,
Aye.
Jeff Christensen,
Aye.
John Clark,
Aye.
David Miller, aye. Congratulations. Planning board process is complete. Good luck.
Thank you, everyone. I think it's a better project at the end of this, so
I think
thanks
so,
for
too.
everyone's
Good.
Yeah,
time.
thanks for everybody's input.
Good.
Appreciate it.
Good luck, guys. And thank you, Craig, for all your help.
Oh,
Yes.
Thank you. It was a pleasure working with you.
And Rob, too.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank
Thank you, Christian and
Thank you
Victoria.
Yep, Rob, we'll definitely be in touch. Thank you.
Okay,
Happy
got it.
holidays, everybody.
Yeah,
Happy
happy
holidays.
holidays.
Yeah.
same.
Likewise, thanks.
So good it's done before the holidays.
Yes.
Stay safe tomorrow.
Yes, we have a second item, which was a public hearing for 41 East Market Street, Suite 5. The proposed restaurant, retail business deli. And do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second? I'll second the motion. All those in favor, John, turn on your microphone. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, so the public hearing is open. Is there any member of the public out there who wishes to make a comment on the restaurant retail business, the deli?
Can we have the applicant summarize it for the public, just in case they're
Okay,
getting in tonight fresh?
Go ahead,
I'm
Keith.
here. Yeah, I'm here. Yep, thanks. Yeah, so the suite is suite number 5, which if there are folks online, to make it easy, it's the old Land of Oz, which is in between Gary DeMora Real Estate and the Krug in the Rhinebeck Bank parking lot. And the proposal is to put a deli and butcher type shop in there for 6 or 7 days a week, 11 to 7, possibly 11 to 5 on Sundays, to serve the community for deli type options and butcher type options. No alcohol, as of right now, no breakfast, and limited number of seats based on the space that allows it, COVID rules, and so on and so forth. So no exhaust, no flames, no gas, no exterior lights. The sign will not be lit up and won't be open at night or early in the morning. So
no public restroom.
correct.
Okay, is there any member of the public that would like to make any comments? Okay, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make that motion, Michael Gee.
You have a second?
Second.
John Clark. John Clark seconds. Okay, all those in favor, Michael Gee,
Aye.
Mary Quinn,
Aye.
Jeff Christensen,
Aye.
John Clark,
Aye.
David Miller, aye. Okay, the public hearing is closed. Does anyone have any comments? By the way, we did receive today, the applicant said they would come back for a sign later, but they submitted an application for the sign. And I spoke with Ryan and thought we might as well get this done in one shot rather than having the applicant have to come back again. So I wanted Ryan to show you the sign. If you didn't get a chance to look at your email today.
Yes.
It's called Prime, deli meat provisions. And the space allocated for that store is the proposed sign, 23 inches by 30 inches, 4.8, and another one. Where's the other one? On the door? Is that a decal on the door? Yes, okay. Is 11 inches by 14 inches, 1.1 square foot, leaving 0.1 square foot left. They've used up almost all of their square footage for their door sign and the hanging sign. And there's no lights on the sign, correct?
Oh.
Are you there?
He muted himself, David. Hold on.
Oh,
Go ahead.
here you
Go,
are. No,
go
here I
ahead,
am.
Keith.
No, I'm sorry. I'm saying
No lights.
you're basically seeing no lights, and you're basically seeing all the signage we'll ever have because we only have 0.1 foot left, which
And
wouldn't be.
it's timely signed, so I know that Paul
Yep.
will make sure it's not between the proper height, 7 feet and so on. So
Correct. Yep.
I think we've gone through this last time. Does anyone have any comments about the deli? And we have, I think there's 2 parking spots, and Mr. Fenton determined that was sufficient for
Yep.
the 8 chairs.
Correct.
It's a nice looking sign.
Yeah.
It's a very nice.
Yes, thank you.
sign.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Keith, for this. It makes it a very easy job to have such a nice representation, especially the mock-up of what it will look like on the building. That's really helpful. Thanks very much for that.
Well, Paul,
Yeah,
Simon
thanks.
Steins always does a great job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's been very good to us with a number of different projects, and he's very patient and he's professional. But I appreciate those comments. But he's been good, and it's nice to see for sure. Thank you for that.
Any other comments by any member of the board?
Is there any kind of a law about bathrooms? You know, I'm thinking, well, Samuel's doesn't have one. So is there a ruling about the size of a building or a restaurant and the need for public bathrooms?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I
think
don't
we
either.
would have to defer that to the Department of Health.
Yeah, I don't know.
In that case, I mean, I think it'll all depend on what Keith submits to the Department of Health, but
Yeah, I can chime in on that just briefly. We have spoke to the Department of Health. We have an application pending, sort of pending this approval and all that, and they know that there would be no public bathroom. At the end of the day, there is a bathroom there. It could be used, for an emergency or for, possible worst case scenario, but they don't require us to have a public bathroom because 90% of our business is going to be to go. There'll be limited seats. Again, we're asking for approval for the seats. We may not actually use them or may not use them in the beginning or the first 6 months. And not to, talk about other businesses, but there are several businesses that are similar or have restaurants that don't have public bathrooms or accessible bathrooms. So I'm not sure.
I think
that
therein lies the difficulty
Yeah.
of
It's
enforcement. That if there are other established commercial businesses that do not offer restrooms to the public, you can't impose that on this single.
Yeah, and Mary,
Exactly.
to maybe answer your question, I have no problem, quite honestly, opening the restroom to the public.
No.
I mean, if it's an emergency, somebody.
Yeah,
can
I
go
mean, it's not.
upstairs.
Listen, well, of course,
You
or
can't do
even making them open. We would never close it to somebody, but I don't want to publish, hey, we have bathroom, because there's people that
Right.
do that to establishments now because there's a restaurant.
There's no one here tonight to explain it, but if you go down, if a member of the public goes downstairs, there has to be two fire exits to get out of the bathroom, get out of there. It's not a problem for your staff, but there are laws, and as I said, we don't have an expert here tonight to explain it to you, but you cannot let the public go downstairs.
That's fine. That's fine.
It violates a lot of safety regulations, but
That's more of a code issue and a Board of Health issue than it is a
right.
site plan issue.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Is anybody have any other questions about this? All right. Do I?
So, Mr. Chair, I think we have to do this in two motions. One for the
we have to
permit.
close the public hearing.
You already did that.
We did that. Okay.
We need two motions to approve the special use permit, and then the second motion would be to approve the sign.
Okay. All right. So the first thing will be to have a motion to approve the special use permit for 48 East Market Street, suite number 5, the Prime.
41.
41.
41.
41 East Market, yes. It's late. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have
I'll second that.
Okay, John Clark makes the motion. Michael Gee seconds it. Michael Gee,
Aye.
Mary Quinn,
Aye.
Jeff Christensen,
Aye.
John Clark,
Aye.
David Miller, aye. All right, now a motion to approve the site plan. for 41
Sign app.
Right.
David.
All right.
Well, the special permit and the site plan should have been included in the first motion.
Site plan should, right. It should have said special permit site plan in the first one, sorry. We'll change that in the minutes. The recording secretary can change that. Sorry about that. Now we're going to have the motion to approve the sign application for 41 East Market Street, the Prime. Do we have a motion to do that?
I'll make that motion.
Mary Quinn makes the motion a second. I'll second it. All those in favor, Michael Gee,
Aye.
Mary Quinn,
Aye.
Jeff Christensen,
Aye.
John Clark,
Aye.
David Miller, aye. All right, good luck.
Good luck,
Thank you.
Keith.
I appreciate your help and
I'll be in
support.
touch, Keith. I'll be in touch, and we'll figure out the next steps for what the office and the department needs to sort of close this all up. All right, Keith?
Yep, I appreciate it. And thanks everyone for their time and listening the last two meetings for the hub. I appreciate your due diligence as a 45-year resident of Rhinebeck. It's nice to see what's happening and what you guys are all doing and putting and how it's going to affect the village and Rhinebeck. So as much as there was no comment, I just applaud you guys. I applaud them for making things work, and it's all good for the village. And I think it's going to be great for everybody. And thank you for everything you guys are doing.
Good. Good luck.
Thank you.
So the minutes we don't have yet. Ryan was optimistic. He thought we would have them, but we don't have them. We'll address that in the next meeting in January. And speaking of Prime, it appears, I think Michael commented, I noticed it, I think Ryan noticed it, that the Land of Oz just packed up their toys, moved across the street, and hung a sign in the empty store. And I believe that they have been contacted, that they have to come in for planning board approval. They can't just up and move their business across the street. So they have gotten a letter from Ryan, from the planning board office, that is.
That's correct, Mr. Chair. They have received the letter for their sign. I believe they will not need site plan application or anything like that, any kind of approval, because it's retail to retail.
But the sign has to be approved.
But
even though it's
yes,
the same time.
that is in the works, and I'll be working with Land of Oz into resolving that matter of getting their sign application in and in front of the board for review as we turn the corner for 2021.
And the other outstanding issue was 55 South Street. You know, I went by there, I ran by there a couple of weeks ago and noticed that they were working on the house, and they'd taken out the front window, put in a picture window, and there's no building permit or anything. And Mr. Fenton sent out a citation to them saying you're working on the building without a building permit, and you made alterations to a historic building without coming to the planning board. And Ryan's working on that as well to get them to come to the planning board and do something about that picture window. And of course, file a building permit, which has nothing to do with the planning board.
And just so that the planning board is aware, the resident has 30 days to respond. So
I walked by there today, and it really is a pretty ugly window
Yes, it
for
really
that
is.
building. It's really poor proportions.
well, hopefully somebody's ears are burning right now. So
Ryan, 30 days from what date they received the letter?
whatever is either on the letter or postmarked on the envelope.
And that was what, like yesterday or 2 weeks ago? Or
A
what?
week ago. About a
I
week
believe
ago.
a week ago.
Yeah. Because Fenton got confused. There's a project going on across the street. He thought I was talking about the building across the street. He said, no, they have building permits. I said, not that one. It's the one the other way. And then, he gave them that they got that letter. So we have to get them in here.
Good.
But
Anybody?
we cannot do that by force. There is no, I don't get into some vehicle and, go over to 55 South Street and strong arm anybody. This is all within a process.
Yeah. So I don't know if anybody has any other outstanding issues. The sign law, I believe, is still suspended until the village board decides to do something. Those sandwich boards and signs and sidewalk things are, the law is still suspended. And
Going to be covered in snow soon, so.
it's going to be covered in snow. And I'm glad they picked up the the barriers because they need to plow Market Street, unfortunately for the restaurants. Anybody have anything else talk about or say? All right, well, everybody have a wonderful holiday season, a very happy new year. We'll see you guys in 2021.
One thing, I saw on the village website that they're having a planning presentation and comment section on, I think, December 17th at 7 o'clock. That's going to deal with environmental issues, a presentation by an intern who was brought in to look at the comprehensive plan for both the village and the town and make recommendations on a potential update that would take in climate change factors and other environmental issues that weren't covered back in when the last plans were done. So that might be an interesting thing to look at.
Thank you, John, for bringing that up. Vanessa actually wanted me to specifically invite all members of the planning board to that meeting. So.
Is that going to be, what platform is that going to be on, Lydia?
Probably Teams, but I'm not sure.
All right. Is there any details of where that's going to be hosted from? Is that going to be hosted from?
Hold, please. Somewhere in my email. There it goes. Oh, it's a Zoom.
Okay.
I don't know. I think it's a joint village town, so it's probably being hosted by the town would be my guess.
Okay, that's good. I was unaware of this happening, and I just needed to know based on the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting taking place at the same night at the exact same time.
Oh, inconvenient. Yeah, I'll forward the invitation to everybody on the planning board and you, Ryan.
Thank you.
So along those lines, now that you mention it, saw an email this afternoon from the village. Village board will hold a special meeting on Monday, December 21st at 3 p.m. to discuss the building, planning, and zoning department virtually. What's that about?
Jeff, do you did you hear about the unplanned hiatus of Jeff Fenton's?
John Fenton.
John Fenton's. You're Jeff.
Did.
Right. So in some respects, the meeting, it's not just about that, but it is about how to manage basically just John had multiple responsibilities in Village Hall, and so how we're addressing that. Water, wastewater, highways, building, planning, zoning, all of it.
Yeah, so the only concern that we have is our need for support for planning and zoning. The building department doesn't have anything to do with us, neither does the highway department, water, wastewater, just the zoning that we need support, like 55 South Street, Land of Oz, and those kinds of things where we see a violation and we need help getting somebody in here. But the other issues are the village board's area to handle.
Yep. So we are looking into both temporary and potential permanent replacement. So we'll see how all of this tumbles out, because right now John is on paid administrative leave. So there's budgetary impacts to all of these decisions. But we're getting a lot of inquiries from a lot of very qualified people who are willing to help. So we'll keep you updated with all of that.
And we were lucky tonight because we had some discussions with various people, and we felt that we had come like 99% of the way there with the hotel, and we felt comfortable enough that with Craig Wallace and Rob that we could close the case tonight. But I could not answer the question about why you can't have a bathroom open to the public in the basement. I know you can't, but there's to go chapter and verse, I needed a zoning person.
Yep, exactly. So we're aware of the missing. We're all scrambling a little bit.
And right now we have nothing on the agenda for January 5th. And I don't know if applications are coming in by over Christmas and stuff. So we may not have a first meeting in January.
We're not at the deadline yet.
Right.
The deadline is the 23rd of December.
We'll just see if somebody submits something in the next week or not. But the one thing I wanted to ask Lydia is that this is great. I mean, the ZBA is meeting Thursday night in a blizzard, and people might not get that. We're going to be calling, let's cancel the ZBA meeting and postpone it for better weather. Colton could be in Michigan or somebody could be in Florida. It doesn't matter. Plus, we get free recording to put up on the website. Plus, we're able to share stuff that the members of the public and the board can see all the plans and make comments on them. This is a great, not that I don't want to meet with everybody, maybe hopefully by next fall, but to try to get it recorded and make it easy if we do have a live meeting, of having it recorded by some technology, having the public be able to watch it if they don't want to come out, or we could do it, we said, well, it's going to be a blizzard tonight. Let's do it virtually on Zoom and not have to cancel the meeting. We can still have the meeting because everybody's safely in their home, unless the power goes out.
Yeah, it's a wonderful feature. This sort of newfangled technology is really helping all of us at the moment. So we'll see.
How we do this in the future to keep going
Yeah.
in some hybrid form of in-person, and it'd be great if you guys can come up with something to do that.
Yeah, we're definitely thinking about it. Absolutely.
Good. Any other comments by anybody? All right.
I need a motion to adjourn.
You need a motion to
Did I cut
adjourn?
somebody off?
No, I think I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good luck. Happy holidays. Stay
Happy
safe.
holidays, everyone. Safe,
Happy holidays. Stay safe,
and
everyone.
happy
Happy
New
holidays.
Year.
Happy New Year.